Hello, welcome to day one of the Ascend Your Life 5-day challenge. My name is Sarah J. McNaughton of the Ascendancy Collective, and it is my pleasure to be guiding you through the next 5 days as we take a little audit, a little stock of each of your areas of life, where they are now, where you'd like them to be, and of course, give you some information and some practical education around how to bridge the gap so that you can start living the life you actually want in each of these areas. But before we get started, I'd just like to introduce myself. I am a business coach specializing in solo entrepreneurship. I'm also a life strategist and personal transformation coach, a speaker on nervous system regulation, and a self-development facilitator. I work across a range of areas, but the things I'm probably most passionate about are how our mind and our nervous system shape every single area of our lives and what we can actually do about it so that we can create an intentional life of our dreams. Most of us are on autopilot, going through life subconsciously. And what I love to teach people to do is how to take stock and control and actually create the life that you really, really love to live, that gets you out of bed every day. Now, I'm also one of three co-founders of the Ascendancy Collective, who is hosting this challenge. And our mission, in the simplest terms, is to teach you the rules of life that nobody ever told you. Because actually, most of us, as I mentioned before, are moving through life subconsciously on autopilot. And we were never told the rules of the game of life. And you can't actually win a game if you don't know the rules. And we want to play to win. So, once you understand how everything kind of works, how relationships really work, how the universe works, how your body works, how your mind works, how you actually work, everything changes. And that's where you get to take the driver's seat and start building that life that actually feels like yours, that actually feels really good to you and exactly what you want. Some of us aren't even aware of what it is that we want in life, let alone how to build it. So that's what we love to teach you through events, through resources at the Ascendancy Collective. And between the three of us, myself, Rhiannon, and Karina, we have very different but complementary skills. Our life experiences are very varied, and our areas of expertise that we bring to the table are also really varied. So, together, we have this incredibly rich and complete picture of what it takes to build a life that actually feels like yours. So I'm not going to go into all of that right now, but I'd love you to go check out our socials after this, and you can get a real feel for who we are. The link is going to be in the school community as well for all of those. For now, let's get into it because you're here for a reason. And this week, we're going to make sure that it pays off. So today, day one, we're actually looking at health. And, I could honestly talk about this topic for a week because it's so vast, so deep. There are so many layers and facets to it. So there's your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, the nervous system, there's energy, nutrition, sleep, stress. All of it is important and all of it is interconnected. But that's not what this challenge is about. This challenge is about giving you something really practical, a snippet, something you can take away from each session and put into place immediately to begin improving your life incrementally, starting straight away. And mostly it's about bringing awareness to where you are now in each of these areas and where you want to be. That's really critical. And then you can start looking at the right actions for you. Because if we really start thinking about all of the right things to do when it comes to our physical, emotional, and mental health, it's overwhelming. There's so many things that we can do to improve these areas of our life. And all I want you to do is, first of all, bring awareness. And second of all, bring into play a couple of really small practical things that you can then build on and build out over time. But for now, we just want to get into the rhythm of it, bring some attention to some of those things that really matter in this area. So, I'm just going to give you enough today, essentially, to shift something. And where I can, I'm going to point you to resources to go deeper on the things that deserve a little bit more time. Okay, so back to health. When we talk about health, there's three main buckets that we're going to focus on. There's physical health, mental health, and emotional health. And what I want you to understand from the very start is that these three things are not separate. They are completely intertwined. What happens in your body affects your mind. What happens in your mind affects your body, and your emotional state, that's kind of running the whole show. That is, and again, our emotional state is mostly subconscious on autopilot, but it is running the whole show. So kind of important for us to get stock of, right? So I'm going to start talking today about the nervous system. I think it's one of the most under-discussed topics in health, and it's really, really important. Why is it important? It is the central operating system for your human being. The nervous system is your body's entire communication network. It is the master regulator of everything: mood, sleep, digestion, immune function, your ability to handle stresses, your energy, and in turn, your relationships, how you respond to challenges, whether you feel calm or constantly on edge. It dictates your programs, your emotions, your responses, most of the time before you've even had a chance to think about it. And most people have no idea that their nervous system is actually running the show. And that when it's dysregulated, when it's stuck in stress response, it affects absolutely everything. Stress is not just mental. Chronic stress physically changes the chemistry of your body. It disrupts your hormones, your gut, your immune system, your sleep. And most of us are walking around in a low-grade stress state so constantly that we just accept it as normal. And it's not normal. It is actually avoidable. But again, we have to bring some awareness to it. Now, nervous system regulation is a big, rich topic on its own. It deserves way more time than I can give it here. I actually did a full webinar on this exact topic, and I'm going to drop that link in the community here under this video so you can watch that. I highly recommend you do if this is of interest to you, if you are feeling any symptoms of stress in your life, if you just need a little bit more information about what's actually in control of your decision-making processes and your emotional state, because it is this area. And what I want you to take away from today is your capacity to handle stress, your ability to regulate your emotions, and your overall physical health and mental health are all deeply tied to the state of your nervous system. So worth researching, right? Worth knowing a little bit about. Now, you are going to get a resource sheet each day. So for the health day today, there's going to be a couple of things. I'm going to go through the questions in a moment and what that looks like. So there's going to be some questions, bringing awareness, as I said, to your current state and where you'd like to be. But on the second page of today's resource, you're going to find a very practical full list of things to help you, real world things to support your nervous system and also just your physical, mental, and emotional health as well. So some of them you'll know, some of them might surprise you. So there's things like sauna, kahuna massage, barefoot on the grass, breath work, things of that nature, and then a whole bunch of other things on there that you can focus on over time to bring into your life a couple of practices that may help support you in these areas of health in your life, those three buckets that we spoke about, and also support your nervous system. So the audit. In your resource sheet, you'll find a really simple audit on the first page. I want you to pause the video here and complete it and move on after that. So we're going to rate how you're feeling now, honestly, across 5 areas. And this is not about judgment. Very important that when we are doing audit type activities, that we first of all tell the truth, not what we think it should be or what we want it to be, but really take a minute to just sit with yourself. And this whole process only takes a few minutes. I'm not trying to give you something that takes you hours. Really sit with yourself and tune in and ask yourself the question with a moment of silence around it. What is the honest response here? What is the number? How do I feel about this? And without any judgment, just record it. It is literally a data point. This is not meant to make you feel a certain way. When we get to the point where we bridge the gap, We're going to bring some emotion and feeling in. But for now, we're just looking for data. I'm here. I want to be here. And we do that without any judgment and with full compassion for ourselves. So we want to get a clear picture of where you actually are. So pause the video and do the first couple of questions there around the awareness. The 5 things we're rating from 1 to 10 are your physical energy. So this is how alive and vital you actually feel in your body right now. So do it at the time of the audit. As a secondary piece, you might like to take a look at, like you might want to rate yourself tomorrow in the morning when you first wake up, and then in the evening just before you go to bed. And it's good to see if there's a big difference there throughout the day. Otherwise, just pick a point in the day and really just sit with yourself, as I said, and pick your number for that moment in time. The second one is your mental clarity. So how clear and focused and sharp is your mind today, but on a daily basis more generally? Your emotional state. How would you describe your general emotional experience? Are you feeling really settled? Are you feeling anxious? Are you kind of just flat today? Or are you very reactive? Or are you feeling joy, happy, light? So just really have a look at your general emotional experience. And another thing you can do with this is do this every day. Like I'm a big fan of data. We can only really change things with data. And when it comes to looking at ourselves, our behaviors, our emotions, that can be really difficult. So I love to just do it as a simple audit. So just before you go to bed every night, write down your primary emotion for the day. That's something you do. But for now, we're just looking at the one day. What is your emotional state? Next is your sleep. Sleep is so critical. I wish I had so much more time to talk about this. Now, one thing I get asked about sleep all the time is quality or quantity more important? And I would always say if you have to choose, go for quality. So if you have only a short amount of time to sleep, make sure the sleep is quality. Your sleep hygiene beforehand is on point so that you go into deep sleep as quickly as possible. Make sure that you are creating an environment for ideal sleep conditions, and definitely something that's worth researching, and I can go into at a later date in more detail. But making sure that your environment and your lead up to sleep are absolutely optimized for deep quality sleep. And one thing that you can do, and we're going to talk about this in a moment, is make sure that you go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time every day as much as you possibly can. Really important. Now, so I would suggest that, obviously, ideally, we want to get enough sleep, but quality over quantity, if you have to choose, ideally, we would have both. So sleep, what is your quality and your consistency of sleep at the moment, would you say? And again, this might be something that you track as data points, or it might just be something that you're going on a bit of a gut feel on. And finally, your stress levels. How much chronic background stress are you carrying? Now, chronic means sustained, long period of time. It has nothing to do with how big the stress it is. We can have something that people might regard as a fairly low level stress, but it's sustained over a period of time. For example, a lack of sleep. Sustained over a really long period of time is as big a stressor to the body as something very acute happening. So we have the acute stressor, like something occurs and we are stressed immediately, or we have the long-term sustained stress, which is the chronic. So the one that I want you to have a look at is how much chronic background stress are you carrying on a day-to-day basis. So rate each one of those from 1 to 10. You might want to make some notes in there as well. 1 is rock bottom, 10 is thriving. Go ahead and do that now. And then the next part is something I really want you to spend a bit of time on, really lean into. There's a journaling section in the resource. How do you actually want to feel? And now this might feel really obvious to you. You might go, well, of course I want to feel full of energy and I want to have a lot of sleep and I want to feel like my mind is clear. But it's one thing to kind of just know that in the background. It's another thing to consciously write it down and actually make some goals around it, choose what actions we're going to take in our day around it. If my goal is to feel peace and light and clear, the actions that I'm going to take to look after my health are going to look different to someone who wants to feel, fit and energetic and ready to go. They're kind of different action items that are required. So It's not okay for us to go, of course I want to feel amazing. Of course I want to feel clear. Of course I want to feel happy. It's not a given. Everybody actually wants variations of different things. So it's really important that you allow yourself the grace and the time to write down what it is that you really want to feel and then choose your actions accordingly. So there's a journaling section for the next part. Spend a bit of time on this. How do you want to feel in each of these 5 areas? Don't hold back. Don't be sensible. Write the real answer and really feel it as you're writing it. So pause the video and take about 10 minutes now to do that. And I'll see you when you are done. Okay, hopefully that was good. Hopefully you got a bit of data. So the data points we have now, where we are now, where we want to be, and now we're going to have a look at a couple of action items that you can take this week. So as I mentioned before, there's going to a second page on your resource that has a list of things, just very general things that can assist you in looking after your physical, emotional, and mental health. And you'll find that there's a few things on there that you've seen before and some that you haven't. And what I would suggest is, as I mentioned before, is have a look at your where you are now, where you want to be, the gap, and choose a couple of things for the long term that you can implement into your life or that you can go and do now that really will support that gap, support you getting from where you are to where you want to go. But for this week, for the 5 days, there's a couple of things I'd love you to do, a couple of actions that I'd love you to take. So, one of them is in the emotional health space, and it is intercept the word should. And I just want to talk a little bit about the word should for a moment. I should be further ahead by now. I should want to exercise more. I should be over this by now. She should have handled that differently. I should be doing more for my kids. I should feel really grateful. Does any of that sound familiar? And here's the thing about should. In almost every case, that thought does not belong to you. It came from someone else. Parent, teacher, partner, society, comparison on social media. It's borrowed guilt, borrowed shame. And guilt and shame are two of the lowest vibrational emotional states that a human being can be in. They do not motivate us. They do not move us forward. They just make us feel terrible about ourselves and keep us stuck in a never-ending loop of not enough. So one of your action items for this week is to start intercepting the word should. Anytime you hear it come up inside your head, whether it comes out of your mouth or you hear it from someone else, I want you to stop. I want you to notice it and ask yourself, is this actually mine? Where did this come from? Or is this someone else's expectation living rent-free in my head? And you don't have to fix anything. It's more notice, awareness. Make a note of it. Understand it. Decide to have a different thought. Whatever it is you need to do. But that's one action item, is to intercept the word should anytime you think or hear or say it. All right. The other thing I want you to do this week is increase your water intake by 1 cup. Filtered water is definitely 100% better, but water is, increasing the water is, again, the important part for today. So if you currently drink 3 to 4 glasses of water a day, I want you to go to 5. If you currently drink no water, I want you to drink 1. If you already do your 8 glasses of water a day, go to 9. All I want you to do is whatever your normal water intake is in the day, I want you to increase by 1 glass. Your body is roughly 60% water. Your brain is about 73% water. When you're dehydrated, even mildly, your cognitive function drops. Your energy drops. Your mood drops. Your body cannot detoxify or repair itself efficiently. Water is not glamorous, but it's absolutely foundational. And I don't want to give you a target. I want you just to increase incrementally on what you're currently doing. So 1 cup extra starting today for the next 5 days. Number 2 is that sleep that I was talking about before. And I want you to focus on consistency. I've already spoken about sleep a little bit, quality over quantity if you have to choose, both ideally. But for the next 5 days, your action is, I want you to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time every day, as close as possible as you can. Not necessarily more sleep, just consistent sleep. Your body runs on a circadian rhythm, an internal biological clock. When you sleep and wake, when your sleep and wake times are irregular, that clock gets confused and your sleep quality tanks. Even if you're in bed for the 8 hours and you've done the environment and all of that stuff, the sleep quality will tank. And as I said before, quality over quantity, right? So pick a time that's realistic for you, stick to it for the 5 days, and just see how different you feel. And the final action, so we've got intercept the word should. We've got increase water by 1 glass per day. We've got your consistent sleep, go to bed and wake up at the same time for the next 5 days. And the final action is 3 deep breaths every morning. It seems so simple and so small, but I promise you that this matters. Your lungs are one of the 5 organs of elimination in the body, which means one of the ways your body detoxifies itself is through breath. And most of us, particularly when you're stressed, breathe very shallow, which means toxins can stagnate in the lower lobes of the lungs over time. So every single morning before you pick up the phone, before your feet hit the floor, before you get out of bed, 3 big, deep, full, slow, into the belly first, cleansing breaths in through the nose, all the way out through the mouth. Long, slow exhale through the mouth, and really imagine, the air going all the way and filling your lungs and belly completely and detoxifying as you push the air out of your mouth. 3 breaths. It'll take you a couple of seconds every morning for the next 5 days. And I'd love to really know, if you do these 4 things, how you feel. So they're very, very small, very simple, not time consuming. Consistent actions compound, especially ones like these. So don't overwhelm yourself. And I've put a little habit tracker in the resource as well. So you can just tick it off each day to make sure you've done your 4 things. And just let me know how you're feeling over the next couple of days with this area as well. All right, so that is day 1. You've rated where you are, you've written where you want to be. You've got 4 incredibly simple but powerful things to start implementing from today. You've also got a list of other things there that you can take a look at, see if anything stands out to you, and you might want to start incorporating and supporting yourself with some of those other things as well. And yeah, just take what fits and leave what doesn't. So I'll see you in the community. Any questions, please let me know. Share how your audit went. Share your 4 action items, how they're going. Just say hello, whatever it is. We're all in this together. Tomorrow, we're taking a look at relationships. And I can't wait to support you through that. Take care of yourself.